So now it's time to create our project folder. So it's very important to create your project folder in a location where it's easy for you to access. Therefore, I'm going to be creating my project on my desktop. So I'm going to head on over to the desktop, and then here I'm going to click on, I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to click on new folder. And then I'm going to here name my project folder. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it movies underscore API, and then hit enter. And as you can see, this is our project folder. Folder has been created. Now let me open it in Visual Studio Code. So to open it in Visual Studio Code, all you need to do is that you need to drag this folder and drop on Visual Studio Code, and it will be opened. So once it's opened in Visual Studio Code, now we can start working on our project. But before I do so, again, I am emphasizing the fact that you need to always make sure that the Apache web server and the MySQL both are running, because otherwise you will not be able to connect to the database. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start by creating our first folder. So now it's time to work on the project. Let me now create the first folder, or the first file, I should say. So the first file is going to be the file that is going to connect to our database, because much of our work is going to depend on the connection to the database. Therefore, it's very important to connect to the database, because most of the time I will, and you will need to connect to the database in order to interact with the database. So here in the project folder, I'm going to click on this icon which is going to create a new file. Click on it, and then here I'm going to name this file connection. The convention for naming this file is connection.php, which is a file that is going to let you connect to your database. It's going to let you connect to your database, to your movies underscore API database, and get and interact with that database. So here in the connection, first of all, before I do anything, you need to type the PHP, the angular bracket, and then question mark, and then PHP, and then close the question mark and the angular bracket. This is very important. And then now, before I do anything, let me run this in the browser. So to run this in the browser, let me first here say echo, and then I'm gonna echo something. I'm gonna say this is my connection file, and then semicolon, and let me now click on file and then save. And in order to run this in the browser, you need to open up the terminal. So I'm going to open up the terminal that comes with Visual Studio Code, which is a built-in terminal. And then in order to run this script in the browser, just type PHP and then minus capital S, and then the localhost, and then the port that you want to use. I'm going to be using port 8000. And if that doesn't work, you need to repeat this process. You need to type again PHP minus S, and then localhost, and then colon, and then select another port. You can, of course, type whatever port number you want. It can be 555 or 5000 or 8080. I'm going to be using 8000. And then hit enter. And as you can see, as soon as you have hit enter, it's going to here say PHP deployment server, and then here it's going to say this is the server started. So you need to copy this, you need to copy it, and you need to head on over to the browser. And now in the browser, you need to paste that link, paste and hit enter. As you can see here, it's going to say not found. And the reason is because there is nothing here. We don't have anything except for the connection. Therefore, you need to say / and then connection.php. Now, if you type connection.php and hit enter, it's gonna here print out this word. It's gonna print out this sentence, which is this is my connection file, which is this. This is my connection file. And if that doesn't work, if the 8000 port doesn't work, you need to change it. Just open a new tab here, and then type PHP and then minus S, and then localhost, and then colon, and then another port. It can be 8080 or whatever port you want. So this is how you can run this connection in the browser just to make sure that everything is working. And now, since everything is working perfectly, it's time to start working on connection to the database in order to be able to get and interact with our database.